Hey guys! So, first I'm going to show you the proportions you're going to use to draw the basic sketch, and then we'll add in the details to finish with the shadows and the color fill. The ideal thing we could use to draw a traditional flash tattoo, that's just a tattoo design really, would be to do it by hand, with a pen, ink, and watercolors. But I wanted to do this digitally. This is something that if you're not very good with brushes, you'll be glad, okay? There's no Control Z in real life, as you know. To start with, we'll open Illustrator, and we'll start with a new file in CMYK. I don't really mind what size because I can modify this later, so we'll choose an A4 to start with. In Illustrator, we can draw lines in 3 different ways. With a Wacom style tablet, we can use a paintbrush tool or the blob brush tool. This is going to be the most similar thing to drawing by hand. We can also use the pen tool in a freestyle mode, clicking to create anchor points and straight lines, or clicking and stretching from the anchor points to create curves. And lastly, the option I'm going to use is the pen tool. I'll be creating just straight lines that I'll later curve with the vertex rounding option that the direct selection tool gives us. We have to click on the line we want to curve and then drag the point it stems from. This option lets us create perfect vertices. The curve is always going to be the same, and I like this one the most. Whatever option we choose, we have to be consistent, starting and finishing in the same way, so that a design has its coherence. Normally, the old school style has a thicker line width. So, we're going to work with a black line of 3 points in width. The ends and edges should be rounded. This is like this because tattoo needles also created rounded lines. To be concrete, while I'm at it, in old school, the lining needles are normally like the ones we can see in this photo. Or these photos, better said. So each dot would be a needle. Alright, going back to our design, if you've chosen to use a tablet, make sure you use a fixed line of 3 points of width as well. To prepare the layers, I like to have 4 set ones. One for the sketch, one for the lines, one for the gradients, and the last one for colors. We're going to start with the sketch now. With the circle tool, we're going to draw an ellipse with this shape, and we'll rotate it a little bit to leave it like this. We'll draw 2 lines that cross in the middle. We'll place the ear with the pen tool at this height. The vertexes can be rounded one by one until we get that ear that we're searching for. We have to be careful, because if we round off a vertex and then want to change the anchor point's position, the rounded vertex will no longer be editable. So, when we want to change something, we have to stretch the vertex to make it straight again, modify the anchor point we want to, and then modify again with a direct selection tool. It's a tiny bit annoying. When we have our ear finished and placed, we'll make a few horizontal lines above and below it like this. We'll also make a vertical line in front of the face, like this. This is going to mark where the nose and eye will be. This line that I'm drawing in front is to indicate where the face is going to start. In the stroke layer, I'm going to start drawing the nose, the eyebrows, and the eyes. It's just going to be a profile. So I'll get the pen tool, and as I did the ear before, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to be drawing lines, point to point, to get an estimate or an estimated profile. Okay, I've realized that I've made this a little bit too small, and it's not going to reach the chin. But, so I don't get messed up, I've taken away some opacity to the sketch, and I'm going to start to modify the profile again so that it fits well with the sketch. As you can probably see, I haven't added the rounded vertices yet. This is because of what I said earlier. Because later, it would be more difficult to modify them once they're done, if I want to move them, you know? So first, I'm going to get the face shape, and then I'm going to start rounding the lines. I'm going to continue going upwards, working on the forehead, so I can make it coincide with the half of the circle. I'm going to start to round off the vertices now. In some parts, like this bit on the lip, I'll have to add in some anchor points. This is so I can round off my vertex in this way, in the shape of a lip. I can go along selecting the vertices one by one, or I can select various of them, so that they all turn all the way that the smallest of them can. If I wanted to modify one of them, just one of them, I can select that one alone and edit it. The bottom part of the face is pretty much done, but the top part, I can see that the eyebrow part is a bit too prominent. It gives it all a kind of like rude look, you know, like a Super Saiyan 3 kind of look. I have to be careful with this because if I'm following like an American aesthetic of like the 30s or 40s, the ideal woman, you know, beauty was a woman with a rounded facial features, you know, Marilyn Monroe kind of deal. This is what we're thinking about. So that's something I'm trying to achieve right now. When we have the profile part of the woman finished, we can start with the eye. It will go in this area here. And I like to draw pretty big eyes because the ideal woman is a woman with big eyes and big lashes. So I normally draw them like that, big eyes and some big lashes above and below. Even though it's a very simple drawing, these features have to be very marked because of what I was saying. At this point, I'm pretty sure you guys will be masters at working with the pen tool and rounding off the vertexes. To tell you the truth, the Illustrator version, CC version, has made my life much easier. Now I'm going to draw in the bottom eyelid. As I said, with some lashes, we don't need any more really, as it would look a bit too saturated. When you have this, stretch the vertexes. I'm going to stretch this one a little bit more. And now, instead of doing this with the pen tool, I'm going to use the curve stroke tool to draw the inside of the eye. I'll draw like an exterior stroke and another one that will be internal. To turn it around and look for that symmetry, we're going to press O. That's the mirror tool. And we'll stretch from the side it's on, onto the side we want it to move to. When we have this finished, we can place it. And we can move on to drawing the brows. You have to be careful here because it has to be like a fine and arched brow. This was the trend in brows in this era. So those small details will make your design stand out from the rest. Because you can really tell when someone's taking care like with those details, you know? Now I'm going to add in the nose hole. It's quite simple to do. We just have to draw this shape. I'm going to zoom in because I'm burning my eyes out here. I'm so close to the screen. Jesus Christ. You guys see how easy that was? That's how good I am. Now we can place it. And let's move on to drawing the lips. I have realized that I have the bottom part of the face. It's a little bit stretched out. So I'm going to raise it before I start drawing my lips. Always remember to take away the rounding and the vertexes before you modify. If not, you're going to find yourself with a vertex you can't modify because you've moved the adjacent one to it. Don't be crazy, guys. Come on. Here we have to take our time to do this. I like to modify everything a lot whilst I'm working on my designs. You know? Make sure I've got it like I want it. Sometimes I leave this for the end, but it all depends on the day. Don't worry, and take your time. That's going to show in your work later on. When you get that perfect face that you're looking for. Or maybe you don't. If you don't, then you haven't worked enough. Work harder. I'm kidding. If you don't, you're probably fine. You just need to keep practicing, you know? But that's the important thing. Just practice, 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 guys. Okay. I'm going to give this girl... Well, I wasn't going to make her smile, but hey, I like her more with a smile, to be honest. Why shouldn't you draw somebody happy, you know? Everybody should be happy. So, I'll change her eye and her brow later, because they have kind of a sad expression in them. And that's not cool. It's not cool. So I'm going to rotate them a little, and her expression will change a lot. You're going to see. I know the 30s and 40s was kind of a sad era, but like, hey, like, we can draw people happy. It's nice to make people happy, guys. Come on. That's what we're working on here. It's the human race. All of us together. And then we have like our front part finished. Now we'll move on to draw the hair. To do this, I'm going to use the spiral tool. And I'm going to draw one that's more or less this big. That I'll turn around, I'll rotate it with the selection option on. Now with direct selection, I can copy that part at the top. Alright, I can paste it, see? This is what I mean. And I can move it. Let's turn it 180 degrees and lower it to join it to the spiral. I'll do the same process, rotating this time in the other direction. And now I can copy two and move them. Alright, I'll continue until I have like 5 waves and the spiral at the end. Alright, I'll select the waves and I'll group them. So object and then group. You can also do this with Ctrl G. Alright, I'm gonna eliminate the internal part of the spiral because it's so precise that we really can't appreciate it very well. I'm gonna leave it like this. Now, I'll select the 2 groups and I'll drag them down, duplicating them by pressing Shift plus Alt at the same time. I'll select both waves, I'll go to Blend and Blend Options, I'll choose Specified Steps, and I'll put in 25. Now we can go back to Options, Blend, and this will be the hair. To make that last curl, that's the spiral, and copy the one below. And I can eliminate it up to here, where I'm going to draw in an anchor point on the part on the far right. Remember that I've copied the spiral, so it's in my thingy. It's in my, my paste thingamajig. So on the top part, we just have to raise it again. I make it fit with the rest of the waves. And there we go. All right, select both of these. Blend and make. All right, so if I paste this in the same place, I would have the wave, back below. However, before I'm going to select everything and I'm going to expand everything except the stroke. I'm going to select the spiral part and I'm going to ungroup them. This way I can later join the stroke above with the one below. Okay. If I paste it in the same place with Control F, as I had the spiral in my paste place, it comes back. Now I'm going to draw on the far right bit of this part of the wave. And in the far left, I'm going to add in an anchor point. I'm going to copy all of the spiral and I'm going to drag it upwards. Going to drag it upwards. You don't have to go all the way upwards, okay? Don't worry about that. Now we're going to get rid of all these excess areas. I would have had to copy it before, of course, this part too. And we'll do the same we did above. Okay, select both strokes and blend. Blend options. And instead of 25 steps, well, we're going to use, you guessed it, 5. All right, and blend and make. I'll expand everything except the stroke. And I'll do the same I did before. I'll join the left part with the part on the right. Okay. The only difference is that this time I have to do this on the left part. I'm going to eliminate this part that is left over. By the way, it's in another color just so that we can tell it apart, okay? Just so that we don't mix it in with the rest of the things there. Here, I'm going to eliminate these parts, adding in anchor points and eliminating the leftovers. Can you see that here we have some of it left over? We have to put an anchor point just a little bit below, okay? Just a little bit down. Remember that we still have the spiral in our pasty boy. So if we paste it, it would show up. I'm going to put everything back to black. And then we have it. That's a great album, by the way. Back to black. There we have most of the hair done. And we can place it on our girl. In any way we want. Once this is done, we're going to draw in 2 circles. Okay, so let's draw in those 2 circles in another color so we can know where we're going to be putting in those roses in the hair of our girl, of our bae. I'm going to make a big one under and a small one over it, so they're not both the same. I'm going to put them in the sketch layer. And I'm going to lower the opacity. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to draw the fringe. So I'm going to go to the stroke layer. I'll grab our pen tool. I'm going to do this in green so I can differentiate it, okay, so it stands out. We can make like this straight kind of polygonal style shape. That's going to be part of the fringe. When I finish it, you'll be able to see it properly. You know, just exactly what I'm doing. Now I'm doing the back of the fringe. That has to start from the same anchor point, but they shouldn't join. This is why I made them separate and then I joined them. Let's say that I'm drawing the first and last hair. Now I'm going to blend them. And I can get something like this. Now we'll make the curves so we can get like that wavy Garnier look. We just have to go along with the direct selection tool and select the vertices and stretch the points that show up like we did before, you know? That's all we do. That's what we do. I do want there to be more hair, so I'm going to put in some more steps. I'm going to put in some black so we can see how it looks. Yeah. You can kind of go along testing things until you find the number of steps that fits well with you. I'm going to leave it at 7. And I'm going to place it where I want it to be. I'm going to expand everything except for the lines. And now I'm going to blend the two circles. Blend them in. And I'm going to select the guide of that blend. Okay. If I make the first one smaller and the last one bigger, the blend will make the intermediate steps for me. Now, I'm going to select this guide right here, which is something I explained before. If I modify it and I change the shape of it, I can modify, the line the blend follows, okay? When I have what I want, I'm going to raise or even lower the steps. I can do whatever I want, to be honest. You can't tell me what to do. This is going to be the top part of the girl's hair. These parts are kind of excessive. Well, I'm going to place it first. And I'm going to eliminate this part here, because I just don't need it. I'm going to explain this, okay? I'll make here an anchor point, so to speak. And here where the head touches, I'll make another one. I'll eliminate these anchor points, and then we won't have to be clipping with so much precision, okay? And there we have the different parts of the hair done. And what I'm going to do now is change the color so that I don't get mixed up and so that I can know that they're different parts. Whenever I modify the guideline of the blend, I can also modify the stroke that the blend, that blend follows. When I expand it, even though I'm not expanding the stroke, I can't modify any of the blend. Now, the parts that go below, in this case the fringe would be the first one to show up, I'm going to be eliminate that part of the hair that's covering up other parts of the hair. Okay, so I'm just I recommend, although you haven't really seen me do this, that you have copies, that you keep copies, that you always make sure to save your work, because if you want to go back, it's much easier to go back to a copy than to have to be like hitting, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z until you get there. Here I have to make another anchor point in the green lines because that's where they would be. So I'll eliminate these and I'll leave this visible part. With the pen tool, one of the options we have with this tool is this pen brush with a plus sign on it. With this, you can kind of go along clicking and eliminating. Here, so I could see it a bit nicer and so that I could see that wave that wasn't completely visible, what I'm going to do is, with the curve tool, drawing 3 perfect curves, well, I'm going to use a blend first, like I have been doing the whole time. With, I think, less steps, maybe 3 or 4. So now I can get rid of these, and I can put in these ones. Okay, so now I'm going to expand everything but the stroke, as always, and the anchor points can go right where they are. This is a bit of a tedious job. Like it takes a lot of time and elbow grease because you can't leave anything. See, I screwed up there. I screwed up. Anything out of the edges because it's really visible. The drawing will look weird. So you have to put the anchor point right in the intersection. In the same way, we're going to do it on the bottom bit as well. And then we have that part done. In the same way we just did is how we're going to be doing all of the hair. Seeing as I'm not really going to touch this, we can eliminate it, put it back to black. Very good album again. And we're going to move on with the rest of it. This is excessive. And so this can go. Bye. So, like I said, go along eliminating the parts of the stroke that you just don't need. Okay, these don't, you don't want them. I'm gonna leave it up to this wave, so all of the posterior ones can be eliminated. The part on the top of the hair can be eliminated in a different way. First, we can highlight it. We can expand everything except for the stroke. And now I'll explain how to do this, because with this tool right here, I can go along scoring the parts that I don't want to show up. So these little strokes are going to be eliminated little by little, one by one, until you've got all of that hair done. Seeing as this part here is covered by the fringe, I'm going to eliminate the part below. If I'm not sure, I'm not going to eliminate everything because we haven't done the roses yet. And we might end up covering this with the circle. For this part right here, I'm going to make some little snail spirals. So we'll make 2 circles, blend them. And then it's going to look kind of like a spiral. Little tiny baby spirals. Whenever you double click on an object that you've blended, you can go into the blend option and then you can modify both elements you've blended. Well, I'm saying both, maybe the 3 or 4 or however many you have individually. Once you've got that, you can expand everything except for the stroke and eliminate whatever is overlapping. Whatever parts I finish, I'm going to put them back to black, just so I can visually guide myself and know that that's finished. I'm going to eliminate the leftovers of hair here. Being very careful so I don't screw this up, because my dad would be disappointed in me. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you guys in the next lesson, okay? I hope you have an amazing day. No, really, I mean it.